For the first 3 years I owned my endless summer hydrangea, it produced exactly 4 flowers. I fertilized it every spring because the tag said to fertilize. I pruned it every October because the dead stems looked untidy. I watered it whenever the leaves drooped in summer heat. I did everything the way I understood hydrangea care to work, and every July I watched the same healthy green shrub produce almost nothing. Then my neighbor Dorothy, who had grown the same variety for 22 years and cut vases of bloom from it every June, walked through my garden one afternoon and stopped at that shrub. She looked at it for a moment and said, "You have been cutting the flowers off before they grow." I told her I had never cut a flower from that plant. She said, "You cut the stems in October, same thing." That single sentence changed the way I grew hydrangeas permanently. Here is the truth about July hydrangea care. There is one piece of information that changes every decision you make about this plant. One fact that determines whether what you do in July helps your hydrangea or quietly costs you an entire year of flowers. It is the fact that almost nobody at the garden center explains when you buy the plant, because the tag does not cover it, and the person at the register does not know it either. Today we are going through all 7 things your hydrangeas need before July ends. And I have saved something for the end of this video. The story of how that same endless summer hydrangea went from 4 flowers in 3 years to more bloom than I could carry inside by year 5. The answer was not a new fertilizer. It was one change, and I want to tell you what it was. If you are new here, welcome to the Gardening Grandma. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a video. I post every single week with honest, practical gardening advice. No products to sell you, no fluff, just real knowledge from someone who has made every one of these mistakes herself. Now, let us get into July. Step 1. Identify your hydrangea before you touch a single stem. This is not optional. This is the step that determines whether everything you do in July helps your plant or costs you an entire growing season. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Every hydrangea either flowers on old wood or new wood. Those 3 words determine the entire pruning calendar, the entire July management approach, and the entire explanation for why some gardeners get spectacular hydrangea bloom every season and others keep waiting for a plant that never delivers. Old wood hydrangeas produce their flower buds on stems that grew during the previous season. The stem growing in your garden right now this summer is already developing the buds that will become next year's flowers before this summer even ends. Cut that stem in July, August, September, or fall, and you have removed next year's bloom. The plant will push new growth, it will look healthy, but the flowering wood you removed is gone, and it is not coming back for an entire additional season. Old wood hydrangeas include every bigleaf hydrangea, the classic mopheads and lacecaps in blue, pink, purple, and white that most Americans picture when they hear the word hydrangea. Mountain hydrangeas, oakleaf hydrangeas, climbing hydrangeas. New wood hydrangeas produce their flowers on stems they grow in the current season. Panicle hydrangeas, the ones with cone-shaped clusters that turn from white to pink to burgundy through summer, are new wood. Smooth hydrangeas, Annabelle and her relatives with the enormous white globe flowers, are new wood. These varieties do not need significant pruning in July, and their buds are not at risk right now. If you cannot identify your variety with certainty, here is the rule. Remove only dead, broken, or clearly diseased branches. Nothing healthy, nothing structural, nothing that changes the shape of the shrub. Wait until you can name the variety before making any other decision. My rule now is simple. Know what you have before you cut anything. The gardeners who get reliable hydrangea bloom every season are not doing more than everyone else. They are making one fewer mistake. Step 2. Complete old wood pruning before July ends, or wait until next year. For gardeners with bigleaf, lacecap, mountain, and oakleaf hydrangeas, this is the most time-sensitive item on the entire July list. Old wood hydrangeas begin forming next year's flower buds in late summer. In most American gardens, the window between now and the end of July is the last safe pruning opportunity before the plant locks in its flowering wood for next season. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Light July pruning on an old wood hydrangea looks almost conservative compared to what most gardeners think of as pruning. Remove dead or damaged branches at their origin point. Cut out any stems crossing through the center and rubbing against healthy wood. Remove a small number of the oldest, thickest, most woody stems at ground level, the ones no longer producing vigorous growth. Shorten any stems that have grown beyond the space available to them, cutting just above a healthy pair of leaves. That is the entire intervention. Not a renovation, not a significant reshaping, not cutting the whole shrub back to manage its size. If you stand back and feel the pruning was not dramatic enough and are tempted to go back for more, you have almost certainly made the right decision. The gardeners who lose next year's flowers are the ones who go back for more. My rule now is simple. The amount of wood you remove from an old wood hydrangea in July should feel almost restrained. Leave the healthy stems. The flowers are already forming on them. Step 3. Check the soil before you water a wilting plant. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. A hydrangea that wilts dramatically in afternoon heat on a 95-degree July day is not necessarily water-stressed. It may be responding to temperature exactly the way a large-leafed plant responds to extreme heat, allowing its leaves to lose rigidity temporarily to reduce the surface area exposed to peak sun. That is a physiological response. It is not a cry for water. Before watering any wilted hydrangea in July, push a finger or a narrow tool 3 to 4 inches below the surface at the edge of the root zone. If the soil at that depth is still cool and moist, the plant does not need water. Observe it in the evening as temperatures fall. A hydrangea wilting at 2 in the afternoon that has fully recovered by 7 in the evening was never thirsty. A hydrangea still wilted in the evening after temperatures have dropped, with soil that is dry at depth, is genuinely water-stressed and needs deep, slow watering at the root zone immediately. Deep watering means applying water slowly enough that it penetrates rather than running off the surface. It means directing water at the soil around the root zone rather than at the leaves and flowers. It means allowing enough water to reach 8 to 10 inches of depth. One deep, slow watering that penetrates the full root zone is worth more to a hydrangea than a week of shallow, daily surface wetting that never reaches the roots at all. My rule now is simple. Water early in the morning only, and only at the root zone. Foliage wet through the night sits in exactly the warm, humid conditions that power every fungal disease hydrangeas are prone to. Step 4. Refresh the mulch before August arrives. 2 to 3 inches of organic mulch across the root zone of every hydrangea in your garden before August does more to protect your plants through the back half of summer than almost any other single action available to you right now. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Mulch applied in spring has compressed, decomposed, and thinned significantly by July. It is providing a fraction of the protection it offered when first applied. Refresh it now. Shredded bark, wood chips, composted leaves, shredded straw, any organic material that covers the soil surface completely and holds together rather than washing away in rain. 3 inches across the full extent of the root zone, extending out to the drip line where the outermost branches end. Mulch keeps the root zone temperature significantly cooler than bare exposed soil, by as much as 10 to 15 degrees during peak afternoon heat. It retains soil moisture between waterings and suppresses the weed competition that draws moisture and nutrition away from the root zone during the period your hydrangeas most need both. My rule now is simple. Leave a clear gap between the mulch and the base of the stems, 2 to 3 inches of clear space around the crown. Mulch piled against the stems traps moisture against the tissue most vulnerable to rot and creates exactly the conditions crown rot thrives in. Step 5. Deadhead faded flowers carefully and without cutting too deep. Removing spent hydrangea flowers in July improves the plant's appearance and in some varieties encourages additional blooming later in the season. But deadheading an old wood hydrangea incorrectly removes the buds already forming below the spent flower for next year. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. The correct technique has a smaller margin for error than most deadheading instructions acknowledge. Follow the spent flower stem downward to the first healthy pair of leaves below the faded bloom. Cut just above those leaves, not below those leaves where next year's buds may already be forming. Not halfway down the stem, just above the first healthy leaf pair immediately below the spent flower. That is the entire cut. And here is what most content about deadheading leaves out entirely. It is optional. A faded hydrangea flower left on the plant will not damage the shrub. Many hydrangea blooms develop genuinely beautiful appearances as they age. The mopheads transition through green, pink, burgundy, and antique tan over weeks. If you are uncertain about your variety or where this year's buds might be located, the safest choice is to leave the spent flowers entirely. My rule now is simple. When in doubt on an old wood hydrangea, leave the flower. The plant knows where the buds are. You are not always sure, and the plant is never wrong. Before step 6, I want to ask you something. Drop your U.S. state or your USDA hardiness zone in the comments right now, along with what type of hydrangea you are growing if you know it. I read every single one. Hydrangea care in July looks completely different in Zone 5 Minnesota than it does in Zone 9 Georgia, and your zone and variety together tell me exactly what you are working with. Now, step 6, and this one is specifically for anyone growing hydrangeas in pots. Step 6, protect container hydrangeas from the heat that kills them fastest. A hydrangea in a container is under significantly more stress than the same variety in the ground during July. Limited soil volume heats rapidly in full sun. Moisture depletes within hours rather than days. Root system temperature can reach levels that damage root tissue, even when air temperature alone would not cause a problem. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Dark-colored containers sitting on paved surfaces in direct afternoon sun can reach root zone temperatures that are lethal to hydrangea roots, while the plant above looks only moderately stressed. By the time the top of the plant shows serious distress, the root system may already be damaged. Check container hydrangeas every morning in July. Test the soil at depth, not the surface, which dries first and tells you little about the root zone. Water thoroughly until water drains freely from every drainage hole. Never leave any container standing in water that has collected in the saucer below it. During consecutive days above 95 degrees in zones 6 through 9, moving container hydrangeas to a position that receives morning sun and afternoon shade is not overreaction. My rule now is simple. A container hydrangea needs a daily check in July, not a weekly one. The window between stressed and lost is hours in peak heat, not days. Step 7. Stop fertilizing and stop trying to change the flower color in July. 2 July habits that cause more harm than the problems they are trying to solve. Mistake 1. Fertilizing in midsummer. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Excess nitrogen in July produces exactly what it produces in every other plant: vigorous, soft, leafy growth at the expense of flower production. That soft growth is more vulnerable to disease and less cold-hardy as the season transitions. A hydrangea wilting in July heat does not need fertilizer. It needs water. Fertilizer applied to a drought-stressed plant damages already compromised roots. Address the actual problem before introducing any additional input. Mistake 2. Trying to change flower color in July. The blue to pink range, available in bigleaf and mountain hydrangeas, is influenced by soil pH and aluminum availability, but adjusting it is a gradual multi-season process that happens at the root zone over time. Adding large quantities of aluminum sulfate, lime, coffee grounds, or any other amendment in July will not change flowers that are already open. It may damage the root zone of a heat-stressed plant. My rule now is simple: soil test first. Make amendments in fall or early spring. Not in July, not in response to flowers that are already the wrong color. The color you want is waiting for you next season if you make the right adjustments now. Now I want to tell you about that endless summer hydrangea. The October after Dorothy told me I had been cutting the flowers off before they grew, I did not touch that shrub at all. I walked past it in fall while the leaves dropped and the stems turned bare and woody, and I left it exactly where it stood. Every instinct I had about tidy garden management said to cut it back. I did not. The following spring it pushed new growth from those same untouched stems. By late May there were buds forming on wood I had never let survive the winter before. By the end of June there were more flowers on that shrub than I had seen in 3 combined years of ownership. I stood in front of it and counted more than 40 flower heads. Dorothy came over one afternoon and looked at it and said, "There it is. It had been there the whole time. It knew exactly what to do. I was the one getting in the way." That is the entire lesson of every step on today's list. Your hydrangeas already know how to bloom. The July tasks we covered today are not about doing more. They are about doing less of the wrong things and doing the right things in the right order at the right time. Get out of the plant's way, and it will do what it has always been capable of. So there you have them, my dear. 7 things your hydrangeas need before July ends. Know whether your hydrangea is old wood or new wood before you make any pruning decision. Complete light selective pruning of old wood varieties this month, or wait until next year. Check soil at depth before watering a wilted plant, because afternoon drooping is often heat response, not drought. Water deeply at the root zone in the morning, only when soil is genuinely dry at depth. Refresh mulch to 2 to 3 inches across the full root zone and keep it away from the crown. Deadhead faded blooms by cutting just above the first healthy leaf pair below the spent flower, or leave them entirely if you are not certain. Check container hydrangeas every morning and protect them from extreme afternoon heat. Stop all heavy fertilizing and do not attempt flower color changes in July. Now I want to hear from you. What type of hydrangea are you growing, and what does it look like right now? Drop your state or zone and your variety in the comments and tell me. I read every single one, and your answers shape what I cover next. If this video helped you, share it with one person who has a hydrangea that never seems to bloom. It costs you nothing, and it might end a frustration that has been going on for years. If you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. I post every single week with this kind of honest, specific gardening information. No fluff, nothing to sell you, just real knowledge from someone who stood in front of a hydrangea that never bloomed and figured out the reason. Until then, happy gardening. Take care of yourselves and take care of those beautiful gardens of yours.